They always warned us that cell phones would kill us. Mr. Harrigan's phone is arriving on Netflix, so should you answer the call? A young boy befriends an older reclusive billionaire and then finds himself able to communicate with the old man via the iPhone that was buried with him upon his passing. So we've got Blumhouse producing a Stephen King short story that stars Jaeden Martell and Donald Sutherland. Now, because of the whole Blumhouse Stephen King parts, I was expecting a very creepy and unsettling story. That's not what this is. I had to quickly adjust my expectations to see this as the drama that it really is. The story follows Jaeden Martell as Craig. Now, he's this high schooler who spends time with Mr. Harrigan, a billionaire played by Donald Sutherland. Now, we learned very early on that Craig is lonely. He lives alone with his father, and then he was hired by Harrigan to read to him when Craig was a younger boy. And there's not any weirdness between Harrigan and Craig. There's just a true friendship that grows, and both of the actors, I think, do a really excellent job of conveying this friendship. Now, it's shown in their eyes and then in just the way they speak. Now, Craig is stammering at times, uncertain, but then as he reads, we see this inner strength and confidence within him come out. And the conversations with Harrigan also sort of demand that Craig be more confident, but in an uplifting way. Now, every time I see Martell in a role, he seems to be a very mousy and shy character. And I do like that we see growth from him here, where he transitions out of that small and hesitant persona to somebody with more determination. Now, I'm still waiting for him to choose a role where he gets to be confident and strong from the very get-go. I mean, in Knives Out, it doesn't really count because he was just a chump, and that's faux confidence. But getting back to him in this, the level of care and the concern that comes through Martell's eyes, I thought was extremely convincing. And I really believed the friendship that was building between Craig and Harrigan. Now, it felt genuine, made up of dialogue that felt right for just a young man who's experiencing the difficulties of being a shy teenager, but also having somebody that will speak direct truth to him. And Sutherland as Harrigan is awesome. I mean, I wouldn't call him crotchety, but he's very direct, which can come across as curt or mean at times, and even sometimes rude. And when he was extremely matter-of-fact in his conversations, more often than not, I was chuckling. I mean, the delivery wasn't snarky or even funny. It was just humorous in its abruptness. Now, there's a supernatural element to the story, which could have added a creepy factor to the feel of the production, but because of the circumstances, these almost just feel justified in the execution. Craig believes that he is communicating with Harrigan via a phone after Harrigan dies, and then based on some dialogue they shared regarding bullies, Craig believes that Harrigan could be doing something from beyond the grave. But the thing is, when weird stuff starts happening, it doesn't happen to the people that we're rooting for. Our heroes aren't really ever threatened by the supernatural. So the tense or the scary atmosphere, it dissipates very quickly, and then we can root for a certain outcome. And I didn't mind this arc in the direction at all for the movie, but like I'd said, I had to change my idea of what I thought this was. Now, once I looked at it as a relationship drama that circles around friendship and loss, it takes on a whole new perspective that I think works. Now, as a horror, this is tame and not scary or even freaky in the slightest. Now, I haven't read Stephen King's short story that this is based on, so I'm not sure if it even resembles anything close to that source material. But as a film, this showcases relationships in a powerful way. In one sense, it's very sad to see how little of a connection and a relationship Craig has with his dad. I mean, even though there's nothing preventing a good relationship from existing. But Craig gives more time and emotion to Harrigan, opening up and sharing hurts and fears that he won't share with his dad. And as a dad myself, that's a bittersweet thought. I mean, the kid is opening up to somebody, so at least he's not alone, but you just wish it'd be you. And the film captures this sentiment well, even though it's not a major focus of the storytelling. The longing of Craig's dad, I think it's present and it's very evident. And in addition to the emotional angles, there's some social commentary that the film takes on regarding attention, focus, priority, and connectedness. Now, there's a point where Harrigan is giving this monologue that was coming across as very obvious and then heavy-handed in the commentary. But then Craig comes along and has some dialogue that makes it all fit in, taking away some of that preachiness. Now, I was rolling my eyes at how clunky and obvious it was coming across, and had the script not come in and addressed it, I would have had a major problem with just how blatant it was. But that's not the only time this commentary comes up in the movie. I mean, it's not like the film throws out this one idea to us and then it just drops it. It pops back up in more subtle ways. But still, it's very present and even obvious. I mean, just not in that bash you over the head with simple dialogue type of obvious. This is an hour and 46 minutes, and while it is patient in the storytelling, it's consistent in the forward progression. There's not a lot of meandering or even areas that drag on. Each scene pushes everything forward, and it doesn't belabor points unnecessarily. Now, I love how the cinematography creates both an intimacy and a loneliness for the presentation. As we watch Craig stand in locations of this giant mansion, he's dwarfed just by the sheer size of the room. Even if Harrigan is in there with him, and then they're surrounded by books and plants, there's still a sense of isolation, whether that's self-induced or the result of societal influence. The camera lets us see how they can be together and alone all at the same time. Now, while I'm not always a fan of character narration, I think it works well in this. We see so many times where Craig is reading to Harrigan, and in a sense, really throughout this entire story. Craig, he's reading to us, replaying all his life's events like a memoir. Martell captures the emotion really well, and it gives a sense that he's looking back over key moments in his life with just a bit of fondness, even if the circumstances were less than positive. Ultimately, I enjoyed this. It's certainly not what I was expecting, but the friendship aspect is powerfully executed, and then it's delivered in a way that feels both natural and real. And then the supernatural element is intriguing, especially with the inner turmoil that it causes for Martell's Craig as he wrestles with his emotions, then dealing with grief, loss, and longing. I think the social commentary part isn't as necessary as the story feels it is, but it is a reminder about the dangers of giving all our attention to a mobile device, so it's still a relevant topic. So overall, Mr. Harrigan's Phone is an engaging character drama centered around the power of friendship. There isn't a creepiness to the presentation, even though it delves into the supernatural and it attempts to create an aura of suspenseful anxiety. But both Martell and Sutherland are captivating as they share in loneliness and isolation, but also as they thrive in their dynamic together. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, and some violence. I give Mr. Harrigan's Phone 3.5 out of 5 couches. Do you read Stephen King? He's such a prolific author. Do you have a favorite story or maybe even a short of his? Let me know what it is in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me. Do you read Sutter Kane?